Have you ever walked into a room with children and not noticed they were there unless they were making noise? How is it that we are able to not see children? How are we able to overlook them? The definition of invisible is unable to be seen. How many of you have experienced this? This idea of being invisible. I see hands. People looking through you and not at you, or not seeing you at all. Maybe it's because you're too dark, or you're too light. Maybe it's because you're too poor. Maybe it's because you're too fat or too small. Because you're too female, or you're not male or female enough. How does it make you feel inside when that happens? Do you shrink inside? Does your voice get louder or smaller? Or do you disappear? I want you to imagine, what if we had the mindset when we go into the world that when we look at people, we see them, and we ask ourselves, what is your huge gift to give to the world? Imagine how that could change people. In the work of education, I see it all the time. There are children who are seen, and there are children who are not. And the same is true in the workplace. There are people that we see, and there are people that we don't. And I've also experienced this. And I can tell you, it takes something from you. When we fail to see people, we chip away at their humanity. We take away their voice. We lessen their worth. We decommission their power. And when that happens, people give up. People choose to disappear. Children give up. And children choose to disappear. Children lose confidence in their brilliance. They lose confidence in their worth. And you got to think, what happens for us? What do we lose when this happens? What have we lost already? Have we lost the next rock star brain surgeon or the inventor for a cure for cancer? Have you lost a teacher that's going to influence the next generation of children? Or the business entrepreneur whose business could help reinvigorate a city? What do we lose when we don't see people? There is nothing, I believe, more powerful than helping people be seen. The work that I do in education around transformational education, we focus on a lot of things. And yes, intellect matters, and academic success matters. But what matters more is being seen and valued. And neuroscience backs this up. Neuroscience tells us that when people don't feel seen, when they don't feel valued, their body and their brain perceives this as social threat. The brain processes social threat in the same way that it processes physical threat. And it sets forth a pattern of neurophysiological responses that actually slow down the brain. It releases the stress hormone called cortisol that actually breaks down neural connections. When this happens, it breaks down neural connections to the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for memory and learning. It breaks down the neural connection to the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of brain that's responsible for decision-making and impulse control and all of the higher order cognitive thinking skills that we do. So this idea of rendering people visible is important not just because it feels good, it actually has an impact on our brain. When we do not have this, our brains slow down. We are less productive, we are less able to learn, and we are less able to be engaged. And as you can imagine, the opposite is true when we see people. When we create space for people to belong, the brain begins to function more optimally. People are able to learn better. They're able to be more productive, more engaged. Imagine how that plays out. When we're able to see people, people are able to be successful. What if we went through our lives actually seeing people? What if we went through our day making visible those who are invisible? The person, the homeless person in front of your building, The child in the classroom who is quiet in the corner. The person who never raises their hand in staff meeting. What if we decided that we are going to see them? We are going to do an activity really quickly because I want you, there's no time like the present, to start practicing this. So you're going to stand up, and I want you to find someone at your table or near you that you don't know. Let's do that real quickly. Okay, we don't have a lot of time. All right, hold on. Okay. So this is what I want you to do, not talk. What I want you to do now, we've talked about visibility and invisibility. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at that person. I don't want you to say a word. I want you to look at them beyond the things that characterize them. I want you to look into their eyes for 20 seconds. And, no, don't say anything. I want you to look hard. Look at their humanity. Don't say anything, but I want you to think of a word. And I will tell you when we're done. Does everybody understand? Ready? Go. I shouldn't hear talking. And stop. You can be seated. So how did that feel? I see a lot of laughter. It may have been awkward for some of you, hopefully empowering for others, but you hopefully get the point. I really believe that this is how we begin to be the change that we want to be in this world. This is how we are able to be transformational. We have in all of us this power to see people, to render the invisible visible. This is how we begin to overcome what we see in our society that is breaking us apart. The hatred and the bigotry that we see. This whole country is full of people who are angry because they are not seen, because they feel invisible. These schools are filled with children who don't know who they are. No one sees them. And they have the power to change the world. And so I implore all of you, as you go into your day, to do two things. One, remember those 20, 30 seconds and how it felt to be seen, how it felt to have someone look at you and really see you. And two, and more importantly, I hope that you can remember how it felt to just stop, be present, look into someone's humanity, and see them. Thank you.